All right, good morning. We're here today to talk about one of the biggest questions on our plate. How do we actually use artificial intelligence without compromising our security? Think of this as a strategic look at how we can innovate and do it responsibly using a service called Amazon Bedrock.
And really, this is the question, isn't it? It's the one that keeps all of us up at night. We all see the incredible promise of AI for making us more efficient, for serving our customers better, for finding insights we've never seen before. But let's be honest, the risks are just as big. The second we put customer data or the trust we've spent decades building at risk, well, it's game over. So what's the path forward?
So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll quickly frame the core problem. Then we'll walk through three very distinct layers of security that make up our proposed strategy. And we'll wrap up by looking at what all this security actually makes possible for the business. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the AI banking dilemma. Look, every one of our competitors is in a mad dash to adopt AI. But for us, in this industry, security isn't just a nice-to-have feature. It is the absolute bedrock of our business. We simply cannot afford to bolt it on as an afterthought. That's the tightrope we're all walking.
And this is exactly where Amazon Bedrock enters the picture. The best way to think about it is not as just another AI tool, but as our own secure gateway to the best AI models out there. Now, the key difference, and this is critical, is that things like security, privacy, and responsible AI aren't add-ons. They're built right into the core of the service. And that, frankly, is what makes it a realistic option for our bank. So let's talk about the first layer of defense, the infrastructure. Before we even get to the data or the AI models themselves, we have to know, without a doubt, that the environment they live in is as secure as one of our physical bank vaults. The foundation of this digital fortress is something called a virtual private cloud, or a VPC. Now, the technical definition is up there, but what it really means for us is simple. Our AI work is completely, totally sealed off from the public internet. It's like having our own private, walled-off section of the cloud that we, and only we, control. And what's so important here is how we layer this security. First, everything lives inside our private VPC, no exceptions. Second, any and all data is encrypted. That means whether it's sitting on a drive or moving across the network, it's unreadable to anyone who shouldn't see it. And third, we use extremely tight access controls to enforce who and what can interact with our AI. We dictate every permission. We are in complete control of the environment. Okay, with that secure foundation in place, we can move up to the next layer, which, let's face it, is everyone's biggest concern, our data. How do we let an AI learn from our proprietary market data, our internal reports, and our customers' sensitive info without ever exposing any of it to the outside world? This slide shows the night and day difference in approach. The standard way a lot of companies are using public AI is risky. You're sending your precious data out to some third-party model, and you cross your fingers that they don't use it to train their public models. That's a non-starter for us. With the Bedrock approach, it's a totally different story. Our data never leaves our secure VPC. And I want to be crystal clear on this. Our data is never used to train the public foundational AI models. We can use our data to fine-tune a model for our own private use, but we maintain total control. Now, one of the key pieces of technology that makes this possible is called RAG. It sounds complex, but the idea is actually very powerful and very simple. Instead of permanently training a model on our private documents, we just give it temporary access to them to answer a specific question. So imagine you ask a question about our internal lending policies. RAG lets the AI read the policy manual to find the answer, give you the answer, and then it completely forgets what it just read. It doesn't learn from it, it doesn't retain it, our confidential info stays confidential. So, we've locked down the infrastructure, we've put a cone of silence around our data. The third and final layer of our fortress is about controlling what the AI is actually allowed to do and say. This is where we take our bank's specific compliance rules, our risk policies, and our ethics, and we enforce them directly on the AI's behavior. The way we do this is with the feature called Guardrails for Amazon Bedrock. You should really think of this as our AI policy enforcement engine. It lets us build the rules of the road for any AI application we create, making sure its answers always line up with our bank standards, no matter which AI model we're using under the hood. And these controls are incredibly practical for our needs. We can flat out block entire topics. For example, we can make it impossible for an internal chatbot to ever give investment advice. We can filter out specific words or competitor names. But here's the most important one. We can set up filters that automatically find and mask sensitive personal information. So if a customer account number or social security number somehow ends up in a prompt or response, guardrails can catch it and block it out. For compliance, that's a game changer.
Okay, so we've covered the layers, a digital fortress for the infrastructure, a cone of silence for our data, and a policy enforcer for the AI's behavior. And that brings us to the most important point of this entire briefing. It's trying to shift our thinking from defense to offense.
If you take one thing away from this, let it be this. By putting this kind of multi-layered security in place, security is no longer the thing stopping us from using AI. It actually becomes the very thing that enables us to use it. It gives us the confidence we need to go forward and build things that will genuinely transform our business, whether it's automating internal processes or building amazing new customer experiences, all while knowing we're protecting our core assets, our data, and our customers' trust.
And that brings me to my final question for all of you. Once we have the confidence that we can run AI safely within our own walls, the conversation completely changes. It stops being about if we can use AI, and it becomes about how we should use it. So what's the first big strategic challenge we should give to our new secure AI capability? Thank you.